Hey guys, and welcome your faces to yet another recap. We are back. My name is Chidi. How are you guys doing? Hope you guys are doing well. Sorry I haven't been posting that much. I've been traveling. I was on vacation the past week, just out and about with my girlfriend and her family. So that was really nice. That's why I'm all red in the face because I went to the beach and yeah, got sunburned a lot, like hell a lot. But you know, it is what it is, and it was a really nice time. So I really enjoyed that. Um, so yeah, this is a brand new tournament I'm playing. This is round one, and this is the Midwest Regionals. So the last tournament I played was the qualifiers for state championship, and this is a much bigger tournament, much bigger. So the level was way higher. There were candidate masters, there were FIDE masters, and it was a really big tournament. The whole of the Midwest was competing in this tournament. So this guy that I'm playing against is from a different state, and basically, I've played him before in the previous tournament, was it? Or was it round one? I can't tell. But anyways, I've played this guy before. So getting straight into the game without a second to spare, I am playing with the black pieces. So let me just flip this over. Uh, how do I do this again? Not there. Board, flip board. Okay, there we go. So I have got the black pieces against Westerly, and this guy, he's not 1776, by the way. I mean, he was, but he's way higher than that in terms of like chess strength. He actually got his NM title from this tournament, so that was really good. Congrats, man. I'm happy for you. And yeah, so he starts off with d4. This is a typical London system we're gonna play. So d4, knight f6, bishop f4, indicating in London already. I go ahead with d5, e3, c5, c3, knight c6, and this is very typical. This I've played this many times, and the problem here is that I haven't seen this move, which is kind of like where my theoretical knowledge needed to be improved because I've never seen this move before. And the problem that this move poses for me is that in my usual typical lines, I would play something like queen b6, which I play in the game. And the difference is that after queen b3, defending the pawn, c4, hitting the queen, and queen c2, not trading but going back, I don't have bishop f5 ideas because the knight has already moved. If you were to play something like knight f3 instead of knight d2, then he would be able to I would be able to get away with bishop f5, I think. Let's look at this together real quick. So instead of knight d2, let's just say this happens. I go here, he goes here. I push, he goes back. If I'm not mistaken, I can go bishop f5 here. Bishop f5, queen takes, and queen takes b2. It does look doable, but what's wrong with this? Let me just throw on an engine then. Just make sure I'm not getting my lines confused. Yeah, bishop f5 is the top engine move with advantage for black. And if you take this, then there's takes, and yeah, your rook is trapped. So you're trading a bishop for a... Sorry, you're trading a rook and a pawn for a bishop, which is not good. So this is not what happens in the game. He goes knight d2, which is the better variation here for him. And now after queen c2, I'm kind of like, okay, what do I do now? Because I can't go bishop f5. Sorry, I can't go bishop g4. I can't go bishop f5. Yeah, if I go bishop f5 now, he just takes and he doesn't lose the rook. If I go bishop g4, then maybe f3 and g4 is scary. So yeah, I really didn't know what to do here. And I was really scared of playing bishop g4 because, yeah, it just doesn't make that much sense. And I was also scared of playing g6, which was my first consideration here, to play g6 and go for a fianchetto setup. The problem with this, with playing g6, is it's a bit too slow. And if I do go for this variation, he has an immediate e4. So e4 immediately. And if I take with the pawn, then he has knight takes c4, which is really annoying. So I have to take with the knight here to force him to take with his knight, which is a bit less annoying. Knight takes, d takes, bishop takes c4, and okay. My e-pawn on e4 is kind of dubious and hard to defend. I do manage to play bishop e7, sorry, bishop g7 and stuff like this, something like here, here, and here, for example. This would be a possible continuation, and yeah, it's tough because white already managed to break in the center, and again, my pawn is doubled, so I saw this, but I thought it couldn't be that good, so which is why on queen c2, I opted for a very strange move here, knight h5. So knight h5, in my mind, is an imprecision. It actually ties in, now that I'm looking at this with the engine, it ties in with g6. So they're more or less on the same wavelength of on the evaluation. Bishop g4 being the best, and knight h5 being, in my mind, an imprecision. So bishop g4 would have been better. So knight h5, he goes bishop g3, which I like a lot because it's basically the bishop guaranteed. I've got a guarantee that I'm going to win the bishop. I could take it now. I could play g6 now, apparently. Or I could play the move which I play, which is a mistake, which is bishop g4. And bishop g4 is really due to psychological effect. So I was really happy that I'm going to win the bishop on g3. And for this reason, I just played bishop g4 and just completely forgot that he had e4, which was the whole point of me not playing g6 in the first place. So he just goes ahead with e4, and he's way better. Fortunately for me, that's not what happens in the game, so I got really lucky here. I can't say lucky, really, because I'm still really bad in the position. He goes knight e2. Okay, I go e6. Now my bishop is out the pawn chain, and okay, I can develop my dark square bishop. He goes straight in for the kill with e4, which is the best move. Really good play here by him. I trade, takes, knight takes, pawn takes, bishop e7, and in my mind, okay, I'm kind of surviving here. He goes for b3. Now b3 is a bit of an imprecision because all of his pieces are pointing towards the king side, and it looks like his best chances of winning this game is on the king side. And pushing on the queen side of this b3, it really doesn't make that much sense in my mind. It would be better for him to play something like e takes, bishop f3, already adding pressure onto my pawn, and I'd have to play something like rook d8, followed by kingside castle, and yeah, my knight doesn't make that much sense where it's placed. My bishop can improve, bishop f6 maybe. So I do have some ideas, but it looks, actually I can't castle because it's mate, basically. If I kingside castle, it's mate. So yeah, my king is forever condemned in the center by the looks of it. b3 happens in the game though, and I play c takes correctly. A takes. Engine likes g6. I like my move, rook c8. Queen d3, just stepping out with that pin. I was threatening to play in this position knight takes d4, winning a pawn. He sees it because he's a very strong player. Queen d3, moving out the way. And here I kind of went for a very dubious line here. A very dubious line indeed, because basically, I'm basically incentivizing, is that a word? I'm begging for him to attack me, basically, with bishop g5, which is what I played. And sure enough, he does, because it's the best move, and it is correct to play this. And the whole point of me playing this was I had calculated that after f4, I confronted this intermezzo move, d takes e4, hitting the queen, forcing him to take this. And once he does, I move my bishop back. And okay, my bishop is controlling some of the squares that the knight could jump to, so all of these squares are in the defense of my bishop, which means he can't really jump with his knight. And I do have some pressure along the c file here. He can't really push c4 because of queen takes d4. And yeah, I think this was a very good practical decision in my mind, although he plays a very strong move here, b4. And it gets tough again because what does black do in this position? It's not really clear how black can make anything happen here. I don't think black can make anything happen, and I'm really scared to kingside castle here because of all of the ideas involving mate. I think if I kingside castle, then knight f6 check, bishop takes, and yeah, queen takes h7 mate is already a possibility. So one idea was to play h6. I didn't want to push my king side because I was scared of him pushing his king side and attacking me. So I go for a6, just like a waiting move. And basically what I'm doing in this position is literally just waiting. I'm waiting, seeing if he makes a mistake, admitting, okay, you played better than me. You obviously outplayed me here. So all I can do is just like wait and hope you make a mistake. That was my mindset here, which I think is correct. Knight c5, just improving the knight. g6 out of necessity. Now I need to play this. And he goes for g4. Just trying to expand and attack me on the king side like I was afraid of. Knight a7. Just trying to reroute the knight to a better square. Trying to place it over on b5. f5. Immediately taking advantage of my g6 push. And here I had to play takes, knight b5 was correct. And now castles. Now castles is a mistake, believe it or not. And the problem with castles is that you have a really powerful rook here on this a file, sorry, the h file, and you can queenside castle, you can do stuff like this, and you can attack me, and basically you don't even need to do this. You can just maybe even go king f2. Okay, maybe not king f2 because there'll be bishop. Okay, there's not bishop f4. Okay, king f2 with the idea of bringing the a rook to e1 and just killing me along this file. I can have a castle, and this is really tough to defend here for me. So yeah, I think castling for him was definitely a mistake. He does have the f file, which will open up in the future, but I don't think it's the best. And here I had a really sneaky shot here, and I play castles. Now, at first, it looks like I'm just hanging a straight up fork on f8 and on b6, but actually, it's not a good move. And this is a mistake that equalizes, believe it or not. So now this is 0.2 with best play, which is incredible because I'm getting forked. How have I gone from in this position minus 2.5 to getting forked and being equal? It is just crazy stuff. And the point behind this, which I played, is now I've got queen d6, and if you take me, look what happens. Takes, rook takes c3, intermediate move again, which is super important. Queen e4, queen takes d4, queen takes, knight takes. I'm hitting both the knight and the bishop, so he takes here, I take, he takes, I'll take with check, he'll go up, and I'll take. And this is somewhat drawable. This is, I'd have good chances of drawing here just because he won't have any pawns on the board, and I'll have probably an advantage through that. I think conceptually, if I trade a pair of rooks off and I just push my queenside pawns, at some point I'll have all the pressure and he won't be able to mate me. Bishop and rook endgames. I mean, if it's just king, rook and bishop, that's already hard enough to win as it is. So I was definitely happy in this position, which I would have been. It isn't what I get. I play queen to d6 and he correctly plays knight c5, so really strong player. It's really hard to play the first round of a tournament, like get a position where you fork and you can't play it because it's equalizing and you have to go back. And he had the self-control to actually go back, so this was really good by him. So again, a really strong player, what can you say? And so I saw he was really annoyed here. He was definitely not happy with this position, which is why I go from my passive defensive mode to my attacking mode because um, this isn't justified by like chess in and of itself. It's more justified by the psychology behind the game. So if I see he's really frustrated, maybe he makes some mistakes calculating, maybe he doesn't play the best moves, and maybe I have some chances to get some counterplays. So here I play a really interesting move, and this is something that you guys can also implement in your games if you guys are playing OTB. If you notice your opponents, or maybe even online, if you notice your opponents are getting really frustrated and just like blitzing out moves, or they are really like huffing and puffing and getting like really distraught, then this may be the kind of plan you can go for if you see value in it as well, because it has to work for black. You can't just play a move that is interesting, but there's not a real justification on the board. So b6 is why I play here. And b6 had some justification in my mind because there was a huge tactical battle that was going to take place after rook takes a6. So I am just fully sacking a pawn. And in this position, I now play knight takes c3, sacking the knight. And the reason I sack the knight here is because after queen takes c3, I have bishop f6, which is now pinning the d4 pawn. Also, his knight is pinned, so he can't move his knight. It's almost a guaranteed knight. And after queen d3, I have bishop takes d4, king h1, and I go queen d8. Although afterwards, a candidate master was analyzing our game while we were playing, and he suggested queen takes d4. So a very good spot. This is actually the better move. You'd have to play king h1, b takes d5, takes, check here, take. And this would be the position. It would be somewhat easier to draw here. And yeah, this is what the CM recommended. I play him afterwards, which is a really interesting game. So stay tuned for that game. It's one of the last rounds. Anyways, I play bishop takes, which I also like because it's more tactical and it justifies in the sense that it's not technically better, but psychologically I do have better chances because he is pretty tilted at this point. Queen d8 by him. Knight b7, again, another mistake because this just allows me to play very simple queen h4 check. Queen h3, and now it's starting to get really apparent that, okay, black is putting on some serious pressure and it's not going to be easy for white pieces to defend this after, for example, queen e4. Like, okay, your bishop is hit, your knight is hit, and you can't really play bishop f3 defending both pieces because if you do play bishop f3, then queen d3, and both your rooks are now hit. So it's funny because you can't even defend these rooks. If you go like rook here, then bishop takes, and you're not gonna win this, mate. So yeah, this is definitely really interesting. I was really happy to get this position. And so he throws in an intermediate move, f takes. And the point of this is that if I take with the f-pawn, he may have ideas of taking advantage of my light square weaknesses. So to stop this, I play h takes, the only good move. And now after queen g4, which is a blunder, this position is winning for black, believe it or not. And so yeah, this here, I'll give you guys a hint. There's only one correct move here, and the correct move gives +8 now, the engine is saying. So if you guys can find it, look for the move. It is black to play and win. And this is a move I'm really proud of. I'll give you guys a second to figure this out. And if you found it, congratulations, because this was a tough move to see. Fearless played king g7 here. Brilliant move. And the idea is I sack my queen, and if you take my queen like he does in the game, then there's rook h8. Check. How do you stop mate? My bishop is completely killing your king along this. So yeah, the king is getting killed and can't even go to g1 because of my dark square bishop. And the only move you can play here is literally Queen h4. If you want to really stall out mate, then there's Bishop h5, Rook takes h5, Queen over to h4, and then just take and mate. So yeah, that was today's game. A really great game here by both sides, I'd say. I really like my decision making in this game, and I really like his strategic knowledge and also his just really good play here. He was a really good player, so congrats to you, man. And sorry this happened. I mean, I wasn't supposed to win this game whatsoever. But yeah, so this just shows the importance of making good decisions and sometimes playing off of psychology, which can really help you, which is something I really like doing in chess. So yeah, this was the first round. I came out with a victory. Let's see if we can keep up the energy, and I'll try and post more frequent now. Maybe I'll do a video tomorrow. Maybe I've got some other ideas in the work of making like a speed run or climbing the rating ladder. I think you guys would really like that. So let me know in the comments if you'd enjoy that, and I'll see you guys for next video. Bye.